Week 5 Jazz recap. Predicted by Carson Wood, Jazz went 3-1. I was hoping for a clean sweep week. I was denied. Jazz went 3-1.
We were all denied. It should have been, especially because Wiggins was out.
Yeah.
The first game that we lost.
It's really disappointing. Do you want to just dive right into it?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Timberwolves at Jazz, Monday night. Everyone thought a win was coming. Wiggins was out. I can't understand how we got to where we were, and we lost by 10 points to the Timberwolves.
It was a weird game. Towns got hot. I mean, plain and simple. He only ended up with 29 though. Even if he ends up with 29, you kind of we were saying 40, and the rest of the team they still weren't going to beat us. We were like, you could even pencil in 40, and even still, Teague had a decent game. Covington had a decent game.
Covington had a great game.
Yeah. Covington
was all over the place. And it was going back and forth for most of the game. And then all of a sudden, the end of the fourth, Towns just got hot from downtown. And I don't know if we lacked energy, but we lacked desperation.
Right.
Or drive may not be the word, but we lacked something that you need to beat any team in the NBA.
I feel like we didn't adjust. A lot of the people that we talked to after the game, they were talking about how it wasn't working guarding him on the perimeter. And then, not to fast forward, it seems like we did make the adjustments, but it was difficult for us to make the end game adjustment. And he just kept doing what he was doing, and eventually they pulled away.
If you would have told me that would be our first loss at home, I would have laughed at you. I didn't see that coming. I thought we were going to win handedly with Wiggins out, but it feels like the Jazz are, I don't want to say playing down to their opponents, but it seems like they get up for the big games, but they also play down. Yeah,
they play to their competition.
They play to their competition, and I don't like that.
No.
I want you to step on their throats. I want you to just take teams out. If I was a betting man, I would take the under on every Jazz line. Every single one. It's not going to happen.
You're saying like not points total. You're saying taking the
if the Jazz are favored, I would take the other team.
The Jazz favored by 7. You're taking the other team.
100%.
That's fair. And they could be up at 15 points in the fourth, and you're still just like, I think I got a chance at this money.
The line for the Pelicans was 16. No way I'm taking that.
No,
not a chance in a million years.
Was the only game, and I think we've talked about this last week too, because it's the only one that we could really pencil in as a dominant win. I think was Memphis, right?
No, Memphis.
Sacramento. That's what it was. And that wasn't super amazing.
When we lost to Memphis at Memphis?
No, I said Sacramento.
Sacramento.
It was super amazing, actually. It was by 30 points.
Yeah.
I can't do math right now, but it was 32 points. But other than that, every game, even when we get like a 20-point lead, ends up in single digits at some point.
It dwindles rapidly, and it's got to stop. You can't. My heart can't take much more of this. We need easy wins against teams that we're supposed to be beating.
And also, so obviously we've been doing the interviews. That's what this whole thing's about. We keep being like, these blowouts, man. Every time we think there's a blowout, we're like, people are going to start trickling out. How are we going to handle these interviews? And every time it's close. We've
been proven wrong every single time, with the exception of the Kings. Any notes from the game?
No, I think the note of that game comes back as we made adjustments in the next game.
Yeah.
And ended up winning at Minnesota. Like I said, we did make the adjustments I think we needed to. Even with Wiggins back, we still beat them.
Which was impressive. Bogdanovich, 30-point game.
Yep.
We go on the road. We get revenge. I would have liked us to just both have won at home. I would have loved to really keep that undefeated streak going. But it is nice to see that the Jazz, again, playing up to their competition. They weren't overlooking the Timberwolves. Wiggins was back, and they took care of business. And that is, I guess, a really good sign.
We asked a few people this yesterday on this Bogdanovich performance. I don't know. It's hard to just not wax lyrical about him every week.
Sure.
But I'll ask you, where do you think we would be if we didn't have Bogdanovich?
I think he's at least worth 4 games at this point. We lost to the Lakers without him. I think we could have beaten the Lakers had we had Bogdanovich. But the fact that he came back from that sprained ankle and he looks great and there's not an issue beyond 1 game missing. 4 games.
I can't disagree with that. I would maybe peg it at 3, but you're right in the same ballpark as me. There's one for sure.
Sure.
That we probably would have lost without him. The one that he actually won
Milwaukee
for us.
Bucks.
It was tied, but I mean, I don't know. He just
still.
And then the other thing that people have been saying is, because when we asked that, they were saying, well, we'd probably have Favors, and that's fair. And they're saying we would probably have better defense. He plays pretty good defense.
No, he plays just fine on defense.
But I was also thinking of it in context of, thank goodness Mirotic went to Europe.
Yes.
Because, I mean,
this guy really wanted him.
I did, 100%. I really, really wanted him. And I am so happy that Dennis Lindsey is better at his job than I am.
And as fans, we get proven that from time to time.
Yep.
But the game in Minnesota was great. We got revenge, as we had said. Bogdanovich came in really, really clutch. Mitchell had a great game, too. Mitchell had a great week.
Yep.
Mitchell had an all-star MVP caliber week, and I think he's really shining for those big moments. He just controls his body in the lane. And mid-range Mitchell, as you're starting to just
Mitchell
affectionately call him,
yeah,
is doing work, man. He's so great to watch. I just love watching every single game. I do. I can't even handle it. And his consistency is up. His efficiency and consistency is rising.
Yeah. And we were talking about this a little bit because Doncic obviously had his week.
Yeah.
His midweek, he's the youngest 40-point triple-double. Or I think he was not the youngest. I think LeBron's the youngest, but he was the only other person to be under 21 to get one.
40-point triple-double. Man, that's crazy.
Gun to my head, I still probably take Mitchell. And the reason
absolutely.
is he does everything. He can do it all. Doncic's a pure scorer, though. He will get his points, and he does get rebounds, but Donovan's tenacious, man. And
he's a complete player.
It's going to be – I honestly think – I'm hoping maybe in like 5 years' time it's a discussion between those two for an MVP and not Simmons.
I don't think it'll be 5 years' time.
You don't think so?
2 years' time.
Ooh, I think that's – ooh.
2 years' time.
All right.
Is Doncic up for the Rookie of the Year this year, or is that passed?
Is that a joke?
Yeah. I tried to deadpan him. It didn't work.
No, you did deadpan it. That's why he got me. That's why I had to ask.
Let's just keep it going.
Yeah, and then Trae Young also pure scorer, but
both teams look good in that trade.
Yep,
both of them. I think that's a perfect scenario of fit for a team. I think Doncic is doing better in Dallas than he would have in Atlanta, and I think Trae Young exactly the same thing in Atlanta. I think that's the perfect example of a win-win trade, as opposed to every trade the Knicks make.
So you're also saying the Mavericks won that trade as well?
I'm saying no one won the Mavericks-Hawks trade.
I was saying the Mavericks.
But the Mavericks-Knicks trade, yes. Yes, yes. The Knicks lose every trade they make. But back to the Jazz.
Yes.
We digress. A home and home back-to-back. Busy weekend.
Yep.
Great interviews, by the way. Interviews have really stepped up a notch. This past weekend's interviews were fantastic. We went to the Jazz Note for the Warriors game. It's a fun little location. I liked it. But the Warriors game was frustrating. Again, same story. Huge lead, dissipated in the fourth. We only won by, 4 points against a shell of the Warriors team. How many injuries? 8 injured players at this point? Do they field a roster?
They did have 8 injured.
Good heavens, man.
They only played 8 people total. I'll go through them. Pascal Robinson, Cauley Stein, Bowman, Burks, Spellman, Chris Poole. The only player you guys probably know is Burks because he played here.
And he had a good game. It was good to see him on his own.
He was trying to prove something, and he did good. He did.
20-point game.
Yeah.
-1 ±, but a good 20-point game.
Mm-hmm.
When you play that long and you're down that long, it makes sense. Hard to get a plus in that column.
This one, the story, I feel like you asked about this in the interviews. We finally saw the backcourt cohesion,
that's true.
A 27, 30-point backcourt. And this is exactly what they built, I feel like. Donovan had to score 30 last year, and then who knew it was probably have to be a win by committee from there. But there's always somebody else having 25 plus, whether it's Bogdanovich, Conley, maybe Gobert gets over 20, which is, kind of more than what we're expecting. And then Moutier, he has been killing it too. He had another double-digit game off the bench. I love watching him and Green come on.
I love Bogdanovic as well with 17. Our big three, our top three guys as far as scoring, combined for 74 points. Mm-hmm. That's how you win games in the NBA. Yep. That's distributed scoring. That's a very, very good number to have. And you have Gobert wreaking havoc down low. Even though he twisted his ankle, came back and had a strong game.
He had 7 blocks.
That's a lot of blocks. Defensive player of the year. 3 in a row.
I would have preferred him to miss the rest of that game because he twisted it in the first quarter and then have been there to yesterday. But
really,
yeah. If it was the option, it might not have been.
It feels like, but like while you're playing the game, you feel good. Kind of like with Bogdanovic. He rolled his ankle, came back, finished the game, and then took a game off. I almost feel like that's the way to play it. I actually liked the way they did. I'm really glad he got some rest before the road trip coming up.
I am too, but if we're playing that Warriors team and any of the Bogdanovic, Conley, Mitchell, Gobert get injured in any way, take them off.
Agreed.
If we're playing...
We can't have injuries. We can't have injuries against teams that don't matter. Listen, I know that some of the people on interviews thought that the Warriors were going to beat us.
You guys are not going to beat Golden State. You guys might get away with you guys might get away with Milwaukee Bucks, but you guys are not going to get away with Golden State.
Not this year.
Honestly.
They got weapons.
They still have lethal weapons, but watch out for the
What are the you've said lethal weapons a lot. What are the lethal weapons for Golden State at this point?
Well, right now Curry's hurt, so I'll say that's one lethal weapon right there. That's one for sure.
That's not playing.
Not at all, yeah.
They don't have weapons.
They did not. It was a weird one, too. There was a scare after the game. We were doing interviews, and...
do you want to address that?
Yeah, why not? So we were on the freaking premises, and then all of a sudden they're like, get off. And we're thinking, it's the end of the channel. We finally lost it. And they're like, got to get to the sidewalk.
Guy beelined us.
Yeah, so we went to the sidewalk, and then they rushed us to the other side of the street. That was weird. I'm glad, though. It scared me away from the note.
Did it?
It did a little bit. I want to go to the note again because I love the ambiance and everything. I think that there's good energy. I like the train behind and the people walking. But, I mean, kudos to staff and the police and handling it well. Good job.
And everything was fine.
Yep.
NBD. I would actually like anyone to comment below where you like having the interviews more. You've seen the note. We traditionally go to the Malone and the Stockton statue, but we're going around. We're doing our thing. Both have positives and negatives, but let us know what you like better.
We'll probably hit all 3 corners because like the one is
the trees look so good right now.
They do.
Just lit up, amazing, and we love the lighting.
Yes, and then there's the other side that really it doesn't have like a focal point. That's the only problem. It's like
it's trees everywhere.
They do have the trees everywhere, but we have the trees on the other side too. And then we have the note and everything on that side. I don't know yet. But, I mean, both sides have had their own kind of perks, but it's been fun.
I just don't like that they're trying to sell cars at the note side.
Yeah, they need to get those the hell
out of there. Get those cars out of there.
Larry H. Miller.
That makes it a little hard to flow. Some guy tried to steal our sign. Kind of.
Yeah.
Please don't. Put a lot of work in that. That sign, by the way... that sign convinced a social media starlet that she was going to be on TV. That's a good sign. Britt Lamour, we love you so much. Thanks so much for coming on.
We Lamour you.
So much. That was for the Pelicans game.
But we're not in Lamour with you.
Sure.
Maybe Paul is. I don't know. I guess we didn't talk about that.
Well,
I'm not.
She seems like a nice person.
Thanks for coming out, though.
Yeah. Ryan was nice, too. But Ryan was all pumping her up. And she took a video of it, and she's like, we'll put it on each other's stories. I was like, sure. And then I find out she's got like 34,000 followers. Like, she's got a lot more followers than I do. She's in for a big disappointment.
Yeah, we had just literally created that day the Instagram account. It has 0 followers. It had to go from Paul's. I can't imagine being like 32,000 to 0.
Yeah.
Which for us, honestly, doesn't matter. But I think
I put it on my comedian account just to be less embarrassed.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
Yeah. But Pelicans game, while we did let it slip a little, it wasn't a big slip as far as the lead is concerned. It felt like we were always in control. We ended up winning by 8 points, and just the best offensive half of the year. 74 points in the first half. Everything was falling. That dunk by Spider Mitchell was insane. It was a convincing win, and it was probably my favorite win of the year because Rudy Gobert was out, and we still emerged with a W. It was sad not to get the Favors Gobert reunion. It's coming later this year. But losing our best defensive player and still coming out with a win was really nice.
That Ryan guy, I wish I had his last name so I could call him Ryan Lamore or whatever his name is. But he had actually great insight because they were sitting by the coaches. And so everybody's panicking like, hey, I'm in that category. Because the one thing I don't like to see is the 120 points from the opposing team for us. Cause I think our strength's defense. Like that's our anchor. We're always going to come back to defense. And he's letting his assistant coaches draw stuff up. They're trying new things out. They're trying different personnel. We're seeing what we got so we can, we have different options throughout the, the rest of the season. So I think we panic a little bit on that kind of stuff. And I actually probably did last week too, saying, are we getting worried these games are so close? But wins are wins. This is the hardest part of our schedule. If we can get through this to the other side of the new year, it's going to get easier. It's never going to be easy in the West, but I mean, we'll talk about the recap later, or the preview, but we've got Toronto, we've got Pacers and 76ers all next week.
And Toronto.
And we've already had Milwaukee, and the Sixers once already, and Toronto. Thank you. I think I said somebody else.
Pacers.
Well, we do have the Pacers too, right? Mm-hmm. I think I said one wrong. Another one other. Anyways, these are super hard games.
Yeah. We're 11-5. We have the same record as the Clippers. Everyone can calm down. Mm-hmm. We're doing just fine.
Yeah. And it's going to get easier.
Yeah, 100%. February, I think we're just home. Me and Carson are just going to put up a tent by the arena because I think we're there every single night in February, which will be nice. Get rid of these games early. And it's always been said, if you can learn how to be great while still winning games, that's a huge plus. And I think that's what we're doing right now. We're still figuring things out. We're tinkering. We're throwing Exum in there. We're throwing Moutier in there. We're doing different lineups. Niang played.
We've had Moutier, Exum, and Mitchell on the floor at the same time, like going pretty small.
We just got to see how that works. So to be 11-5 where we're at, can't be too upset. Do I cry a little bit that we lost at home to Memphis or to the Timberwolves and away at Memphis? Yes, we should have won both of those games regardless. But it's okay. Bumps in the road of an otherwise successful start to the season.
Absolutely.
Preview.
Well, let's do the...
Player of the week.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carson.
So, player of the week, like we said, it's going to be pretty subjective. We're going to find different reasons to give it to people because we don't want it to just be Donovan Bogdanovic. It's going to be Royce O'Neal this week.
Royce O'Neal.
They put a graphic up last night that I think he is top 3 in plus minus. And I know plus minus is overblown a little bit, but it does mean something. Mm-hmm. He puts in a lot of work, and he does the dirty work, getting rebounds.
And he's been hitting threes. He's not known as a three-point shooter, and he's been hitting them in timely moments.
That's probably the biggest reason that it's like his efficiency's gone up. The moments 100%. That he gets, he doesn't get a lot on offense. He does, like I said, dirty work, but the moments he gets, he's been making them.
Yeah, 100%. And I really think he's just a great success story. He's coming into his own. He's starting, and he's actually contributing the way a starter should. And I love the rotation the way it is.
On Reddit, that was what everybody was clamoring for. Is there, like, after that loss to the Timberwolves, it's like, oh, is it time for Joe Ingles to go back in the lineup?
No.
It's just like,
he's not the reason.
No. It's, again, Ryan did put it into perspective. We're working some things out. We're trying some things.
Yeah.
We are going to get our best rotation, our best lineup, and our best mechanics to our whole game on offense and defense. This team's definitely going to get better.
100%. And they're scary. No one wants to mess around. Bogdanovic, man. Still. My gosh. No one knew that it was going to be like this, and we couldn't be happier.
One other thing.
Okay.
After last night's game, speaking of Donovan and not necessarily wanting to give him an award, he could have had it this week after the week he had.
Sure.
But he is 9th in scoring in the NBA.
I like it.
And they 537 did they crushed all their statistics and everything, and they did their top 10 most impactful players. Only team with 2 in the top 10. Donovan Mitchell, number 8, I think. Rudy Gobert, number 10.
Oh.
Bless him.
And I've always said Rudy Gobert, the past few seasons, is the best player on the team. It's starting to even out.
Yeah.
It's starting to even out, and Mitchell's starting to really do everything that we really want him to do. It makes me happy. All right, preview time. Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right, road trip. Worst, longest, toughest, all of those adjectives describe this road trip coming up. All good teams except Memphis, but we've lost to them already there once, so we can't overlook them.
It's the cream of the crop in the East. It's
Cream of the
freaking
crop.
crazy.
Yeah.
Let's
got
just run
Milwaukee
through it, and then
tomorrow night.
We'll do the full breakdown. Milwaukee, Pacers, Memphis, Toronto, Philadelphia. Who hates us?
The schedule maker.
I always
Actually, I can't complain too much. Let's do this now. I'm out of town this week, so I'm not missing a home game. It worked out perfectly. I had these tickets before we even started the channel, so while it's the toughest road trip, I'm glad it's happening.
It's just I always talk crap on the East, and they're like, "All right, you want to talk crap? Here's the 4 hardest teams in the East." And maybe the Pacers aren't the hardest, but they're
up there though.
They're up there. I think
And the Bogdanovich reunion.
yeah, he's gonna pencil that one in.
Oh, in pen.
Mm-hmm.
In pencil. What are you looking for to see this week? And what do you think we're gonna?
We've got to go.
What's the record? What's the record for the road trip?
So we got to beat Memphis, and then we got to go 50-50 with Eastern teams. So I would put us in for a win versus the Pacers in Toronto. I think we've got I think we have what we need to kind of put a lid on Siakam, who's been their guy. I have a feeling we're going to lose to the Bucks, and again, so it's lost to Milwaukee, win in Indiana, Memphis, Toronto, and then I think we lose to the 76ers.
I have the exact same notes.
Boom.
And we didn't predict that. We don't share our predictions. And that I 100% agree. Milwaukee and the 76ers have revenge on their minds. Simmons especially is going to have revenge on his mind. I think we're going to have very tough times winning those games. I want us to win those games. But if we can come back from a 5-game road trip, the toughest one of the year, 3-2, we should be happy as clams.
The only way I'd be surprised is if it went the extreme one way or another, if we lost every game or if we won every game. That's really the only way I would be really surprised.
I would love to see 4-1, but I'm just not I set up this past week with a 4-0 expectation, and I was wrong. So I'm going to temper expectations. So I'm not disappointed over my Thanksgiving.
That's I don't know. Like that's where I'm at with it is.
Sure.
I think we're competitive every game, and we've kept people in it every game. The only way I'd be surprised if we somehow found a way to lose all of them or won all of them. Other than that, I can see just about anything happening inside of there, either losing 4, winning 4.
I don't want to see 1-4. That would make me upset.
I don't either, but I wouldn't be surprised if we only beat Memphis or only beat the Pacers and lost everybody else.
I won't hit the panic button, but I'll dust it off if that happens.
Yeah. Again,
sure.
I can almost see about anything happening, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to do a recap next week and see like where we end up, because this is going to be a good litmus test. And right after that, we got the Lakers too. Like it is a gauntlet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited for it. Thanks so much again for coming out. Comment us some questions, and we will put them in the next recap next week. Let us know your thoughts, opinions, concerns, jokes if you have them. But until then, we'll see you next week. Have a great Thanksgiving. Eat lots of food. Tell your family you love them. And then hopefully don't see them for another month.
Bye.